What if there is no afterlife? Now, anybody who watches my videos has seen me talking about the astral realm, has seen me talking about reincarnation, has seen me talking about the relationship between life and death. But as somebody who contemplates death quite a bit, who thinks on it quite often and visits cemeteries on a regular basis to contemplate these things and to perform certain rituals so that I can connect with those who have passed, which have, concluded with some success, and other times nothing really happened. But regardless, I often wonder, what if I was an atheist who did not believe in afterlife or reincarnation or anything like that? Now, this is not what I believe, but I put myself in other people's shoes. And not every atheist is the same. This is why I specify an atheist who does not believe in reincarnation or the afterlife. Because atheists, believe it or not, is a more wide range of belief than you might think. Now, when it comes to my contemplations on the subject, I think, okay, what if I knew that I was going to die very soon, and I was a complete atheist, or I had been convinced that there is nothing in the afterlife, there is no afterlife, and there is no reincarnation, and that my life, my existence will end, and that I don't necessarily have a soul, and the only soul that I have is defined by my personality while I'm living. What if I knew death was coming, but I couldn't do anything about it? Would I still be the same person? And if I was an atheist, would I still do the same things that I do? Would I still try to help people as much as I can and basically make videos on philosophy and maybe social issues and politics, even if it wasn't spiritual stuff? And I've thought about this enough to where I've come to the conclusion that yes, I would do a lot of the same things trying to help people. I do not fear oblivion as much as many atheists think religious people do. I've talked to many atheists who think that, okay, we're just afraid of not existing past this point, past the material realm, if there is no other realm besides the material realm. But for a lot of us, I can't even say the majority, I'd say a minority of spiritual and religious people really do not fear oblivion. They just truly believe that there is something beyond, either through their own studies, their own experiences, or through their own logical contemplations. I think that there's a certain comfort in accepting oblivion. If I thought that I would not exist past this point after I die, and I was dying soon, what I would do is try to do so around my family and friends and try to impart as much knowledge as I have to them so that they can continue on with their lives in a way that made not only my life significant, but will make their lives better as a result of me living. So, I do have a sense of wanting to provide a legacy. But let's take that out. What if there was no chance, I don't have any friends or family or anything like that? Let's plug that in and imagine me in a situation where I didn't have any family or friends and there was no chance of passing on a legacy. I was dying in a ditch as a homeless person. I think that there's a certain dignity to meeting your end with not pride necessarily, but with acceptance. I think that even without a legacy, I would try to accept my fate, how I was dying, as much as I could, and pass into oblivion, knowing that I was calm at the end. Being calm right to the end, so I can capitalize on life itself, everything that I've learned, everything that I've experienced, and all the way up until I die. There is a certain dignity in that. But if I do have a legacy, what would I want to pass on? I'd want to pass on knowledge about my specific experiences and how I reacted to them. Not necessarily for people to remember me, but if I thought that my legacy was the only thing that I'd leave behind, I'd try and teach any lesson that I've learned to those that will be around after I'm gone. And, I would like to refer to the Mahabharata in this instance. When the ego, there's plenty of names for the people that exist in the Mahabharata. But basically, the man that signifies the ego, he is pinned between earth and sky. And he cannot get free, but he can choose the time of his own death. And he knows that once he passes into the afterlife, once he does that, then he will not reincarnate. He will not have a pleasant afterlife because he didn't leave any heirs, because he promised to not lie with any man or woman or have any children or even kind of adopt any children. So he wants to impart all his wisdom as he's pinned between earth and sky and chooses to pass when he does not have to face his ancestors and explain to them what he's done as far as not basically leaving any descendants. A very pessimistic view of those who do not leave any descendants or don't have any children that they adopt. But I think that there is a dignity and understanding as a human being that we must benefit those around us, regardless of if we believe in afterlife or not, or if we believe that we're going to a bad afterlife, to try and benefit those around us. I think that the best human beings do not need a moral code in order to do the right thing in life. Do not need an exchange of, okay, I do this and I get this reward. Or I do this and I get this punishment. The best of us, regardless of what we believe, do the right thing purely because it is right. Now, I have this quote that's from Doctor Who that I have taped on my desk, and it says, without hope, without witness, without reward. That means I try to do the right thing regardless of if there is hope in accomplishing what I'm trying to do, whether if somebody's witnessing it or not, and most especially, whether I'm being rewarded for it or not. So hope, witness, and reward are qualifiers that kind of make us less good if we want these results for our actions. So it's very important to think about action in and of itself and what we would do in these situations. Once again, if I was an atheist and I was completely convinced there is not an afterlife and there is nothing that's going to happen to my consciousness, there would be a certain peace and dignity in passing in the way in which I described. To either, of course, if you didn't have a legacy, if you didn't have anything, try to remain calm up to the point to where you capitalize on life in and of itself while you're living it. Now, there's a certain person that I work with that's an atheist, and he's also vegan. And, he doesn't believe anything's going to happen to you after you die. He's a couple years older than me, so he's around my age, but he doesn't believe anything's going to happen to you when you die. He thinks that he's going to pass when he dies. But he still decides to not be a person who capitalizes on the pain of animals. He doesn't eat meat. He doesn't even eat cheese because he saw information that showed that these animals are suffering. But he doesn't believe he's going to be. He doesn't advertise being vegan, and he doesn't. He tells people if they ask him, but and he doesn't put down other people for not being vegan. He just doesn't want to be a part of that pain. He doesn't want to be a part of attributing to that pain, regardless of if he's rewarded for it or is seen as better, or if there's any kind of hope of making a big impact him and of himself. I think that these kinds of people are some of the best people on this earth because they don't think they're going to get anything back, and they know that in and of themselves they're not going to make a huge difference. And he doesn't think he's going to make a huge difference, but he doesn't want to be a part of attributing to suffering of animals. And he doesn't even believe that it's going to, you digest the meat and it's going to be a part of your brain chemistry, that fear and that suffering, which scientists are beginning to prove through empirical data and studies of the brain and brain chemistry. But when I met him, I talked with him at length, over the time that we've known each other. We've been working together for many months. I started to realize this is the kind of person that even I should be. And I believe in afterlife. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in a very complex system called Dharma. And I try to learn as much about it as possible and try to relate to the gods and get close to the gods and spirits that are either here in some way or elsewhere to where we have to pierce the veil. Even somebody as myself who believes in that, I think that people like the man that I work with are great people because he's not asking for anything in return. So when we think about death, we have to think about how we live our lives. When we meet death, how will we take it? Will we be afraid? Will we accept it as another part of our journey? Will we want to leave behind a legacy? What do we want to leave behind, and what do we want to be when we finally pass? And choosing how you pass, as far as, if you're willing to sacrifice your life for another person, is very important as well. people who are in the military who actually just want to save lives, and it's not about killing people for them, or just believing that there is a real threat and we need to kill those people. But people who even people who believe that, but people who just want to save lives. Or if you work as an aid worker and you just want to save lives, and that's why you're doing what is good, because it is good, not because of anything else. Those are some of the best people among humanity. So it's very important for us to take up this armchair philosopher point of view and picture ourselves in these situations. I do every day. I ask myself every day, would I do this today and be the same person today if I didn't believe there was anything supernatural behind the material universe, beyond the natural? And to conclude, I greatly appreciate all of you watching this, and I hope that you think about this yourself. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. Feel free to hit that thumbs up down there. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to support me on Patreon, feel free to go to www.patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. And I only ask for $1 a month for a little extra content. I write things there, I share my YouTube videos there, and you get notified. So please support me. I certainly need the money, and I don't ask for much. So thank you very much for watching, and all of you, consider death, because it is coming, and we must be prepared for it.